Chapter 9 of The Diary of a Goose Girl by Kate Douglas Wiggin. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Maria Therese. Here follows the true story of Sir Muscovy Drake and Lady Blanche and Miss Mallardina Crippletoes. Phoebe's flock consisted at first mostly of brown mallards, but a friend gave her a sitting of eggs warranted to produce a most beautiful variety of white ducks. They were hatched in due time, but proved hard to raise, till at length there was only one survivor of such uncommon grace and beauty that we called her the Lady Blanche. Presently a neighbor sold Phoebe his favorite Muscovy Drake, and these two splendid creatures by natural selection disdained to notice the rest of the flock, but forming a close friendship, wandered in the pleasant paths of duckdom together, swimming and eating quite apart from the others. In the brown flock there was one unfortunate mishappen from the egg, quite lame and with no smoothness of plumage, but on that very account, apparently, or because she was too weak to resist them, the others treated her cruelly, biting her and pushing her away from the food. One day it happened that the two ducks, Sir Muscovy and Lady Blanche, had come up from the water before the others, and having taken their repast, were sitting together under the shade of a flowering currant bush, when they chanced to see poor Miss Crippletoes very badly used, and crowded away from the dish. Sir Muscovy rose to his feet. A few rapid words seemed to pass between him and his mate, and then he fell upon the other drake, and the heartless minions who had persecuted the helpless one, drove them far away out of sight, and, returning, went to the corner where the victim was cowering, her face to the wall. He seemed to whisper to her, or in some way to convey to her a sense of protection, for after a few moments she tremblingly went with him to the dish, and hurriedly ate her dinner, while he stood by, repulsing the advances of the few brown ducks who remained near, and seemed inclined to attack her. When she had eaten enough, Lady Blanche joined them, and they went down the hill together to their favorite swimming place. After that, Miss Crippletoes always followed a little behind her protectors, and thus shielded and fed, she grew stronger and well-feathered, though she was always smaller than she should have been, and had a lowly manner, keeping a few steps in the rear of her superiors, and sitting at some distance from their noon resting place. Phoebe noticed after a while that Lady Blanche was seldom to be seen, and Sir Muscovy and Miss Crippletoes often came to their meals without her. The would-be mother refused to inhabit the house Phoebe had given her, and for a long time the place she had chosen for her sitting could not be found. At length the square baby discovered her in a most ideal spot. A large boulder had dropped years ago into the brook that fills our duck pond, dropped and split in halves, with the two smooth walls leaning away from each other. A grassy bank towered behind, and on either side of the opening tall bushes made a miniature forest where the romantic mother could brood her treasures, while her two guardians enjoyed the water close by her retreat. All this happened before my coming to Thornycroft Farm, but it was I who named the hero and heroines of the romance when Phoebe had told me all the particulars. Yesterday morning I was sitting by my open window. It was warm, sunny, and still, but in the country sounds travel far, and I could hear fowl conversations in various parts of the poultry yard, as well as in all the outlying bits of territory occupied by our feathered friends. Hens have only 3 words, and a scream in their language, but ducks, having more thoughts to express, converse quite fluently, so fluently, in fact, that it reminds me of dinner at the Hydropathic Hotel. I fancy I have learned to distinguish 7 separate sounds, each varied by degrees of intensity, and with upward or downward inflections like the Chinese tongue. In the distance, then, I heard the faint voice of a duck calling as if breathless and excited. While I wondered what was happening, I saw Miss Crippletoes struggling up the steep bank above the duck pond. It was the quickest way from the water to the house, but difficult for the little lame webbed feet. When she reached the level grass sward, she sank down a moment, exhausted, but when she could speak again she cried out a sharp staccato call and ran forward. Instantly she was answered from a distant knoll, where for some reason Sir Muscovy loved to retire for meditation. The cries grew lower and softer as the birds approached each other, and they met at the corner just under my window. Instantly they put their 2 bills together, and the loud cries changed to confiding murmurs. Evidently some hurried questions and answers passed between them, and then Sir Muscovy waddled rapidly by the quickest path, Miss Crippletoes following him at a slower pace, and both passed out of sight, using their wings to help their feet down the steep declivity. The next morning when I wakened early, my first thought was to look out, and there on the sunny greensward, where they were accustomed to be fed, Sir Muscovy, Lady Blanche, and their humble maid, Mallardina Crippletoes, were scattering their own breakfast before the bills of 12 beautiful golden balls of ducklings. The little creatures could never have climbed the bank, but must have started from their nest at dawn, coming round by the brook to the level at the foot of the garden, and so by slow degrees up to the house. Judging from what I heard and knew of their habits, I am sure the excitement of the previous morning was occasioned by the hatching of the eggs, and that Lady Blanche had hastily sent her friend to call Sir Muscovy, the family remaining together until they could bring the babies with them and display their beauty to Phoebe and me. End of Chapter 9.